For this practice, we'll be looking at really cultivating our attention and sending our awareness to different parts of our lungs, breathing into those different parts of the lungs, and in that way focusing our attention, building our awareness, and also with that real idea and understanding that where our attention goes, energy flows. So if we send our attention to a different part of our body, then the likelihood is eventually we'll start to feel an awakening there, or a feeling of the breath in that part of the body, if that's what we're really looking to do. So the main thing with any of these practices that we've been working with is that you find a comfortable position. Now you can do this lying down, and if you are deciding to lie down, which is absolutely fine, you make sure you're comfortable. So one of the things I would always say, if you keep your knees bent, soles of the feet flat to the floor, and really with that idea that you allow the abdominal muscles to relax and to really respond to the breath, because the first part of the practice is to send our awareness and our breathing into the lowest part of our belly. So if you come down onto the floor, and when you come down, if you decide to do that, just wiggling around a little bit. It's always making sure that you know that you're comfortable, and you can move. If you need to move, you can move. Don't ever think that you have to be stuck in the same position. And then allowing your hands to come to rest on your abdomen. And if you're okay to close your eyes, and just allowing yourself to be here, to work with this practice. So if you're all right to breathe in through your nose, you're breathing through your nose, but obviously if you have a cold or you need to breathe through your mouth at any time, then you breathe in the mouth. But every now and again, see if we can breathe through the nose. When we breathe through the nose, it purifies, warms and moistens the air and the breath that reaches our lungs. And ultimately, it's our breath that gives us that real strong sense of health and well-being. So with your hands lightly resting on the belly, whether you're sitting or lying down, just allow the elbows to be heavy, the shoulders to rest down. And if you're okay to close the eyes are closed, or you're keeping the gaze focused. And when you breathe in, sending the breath all the way down into the hands, breathing into the hands and breathing out from the hands. So when you breathe in, the belly rises because the lungs fill with air, diaphragm moves down, makes the abdominal muscles rise. And as you breathe out, as the lungs empty, diaphragm, which is the big muscle in the centre of the body, moves up. That's what causes the abdominal muscles to sink. So you're breathing in and you're breathing out into the belly. So this practice that follows, we're going to divide each part of the lungs into 3 different parts, and we're going to breathe into those 3 different parts. And the first part is just with the hands resting on the front of the belly, and you're breathing in and you're breathing out, sending the breath here. And know that if your mind wanders away, you bring it back. You're cultivating attention, you're settling your awareness, and knowing that every time you breathe and you're aware of your breath, you're calming the nervous system. If you start to feel a little bit breathless and you need to do something else, then that's what you do. But see if we can just settle down and be with our breath as it comes in and as it leaves. And if possible, just another 3 breaths here with the hands resting on the belly. Knowing that when you breathe in, the belly rises. When you breathe out, the belly falls. And at the end of the next out breath, just move the hands a little bit round to the sides, breathing as you need to in between. So the hands are resting on the sides of the hips now. So they're on the belly, the front of the body at first. Now we've moved them round to the sides. And we're going to see if we can direct our breath into the sides of the body. So when you breathe in, can you direct the breath into the hands resting on the side of the body? And you might feel the hips widen and expand. And then as you breathe out, you let go and you might feel the hips just sink a little bit back together. And you might feel something or you might feel nothing. But if there's nothing to be felt for you, just imagine on the in-breath, the hips widening into the hands, and on the out-breath, the hips contracting slightly. And if possible, another 3 breaths there into the hands. Directing the breath, sending the breath, being with your breath. And then moving the hands round to the back of the body. So imagine where the hands were when they're at the front, been under and underneath and around the navel, and now just sending the hands at the behind. So the palms are facing down. If this is really uncomfortable, obviously you maybe just do one hand, or just imagine your hands can be down by your sides, so just imagine the hands underneath. So when you breathe in now, breathe into the back of the body. And if the hands are there, you're going to feel that slight pressure down. Imagine the back of the body expanding and widening downwards. And then as you breathe out, let go. And continuing to breathe into the hands in the back of the body. And if possible, another 3 breaths in and out. All your attention on the lower back, the back of the body. And as you start to relax or settle down, you might feel the body starting to move in relation to the breath. And knowing that you don't have to do anything, but send your attention to where your hands are, the lower back. And at the end of the next out breath, slip the hands away if they were there, breathing as you need to in between, and place your hands now on the base of the ribs. And then we're going to leave the lower part of our body alone and just sending your attention to the hands. And as you breathe into the hands, widening, opening, expanding the ribs, and then as you breathe out, you let go. Breathing into the hands, widening and expanding, opening. And as you breathe out, you let go. Another 3 breaths there. Make sure your shoulders are relaxed, make sure your jaw is soft. And you're concentrating but not frowning. And at the end of the next out breath, breathing as you need to, can you just move your hands around a little bit, so now the hands are at the sides of the waist, or just above the waist, sides of the ribs I should say. And maybe the palms can be down, or if it's awkward, just have the backs of the hands there. So just kind of seeing what you can do. If your shoulders don't allow you to make this movement, then just imagine the hands are there, it's fine. And when you breathe in, breathe into the hands on the sides of the ribs. Feel the ribs widen and open into the hands. And as you breathe out, maybe feel the ribs just sink a little bit. Breathing into the hands. Breathing out. And another 3 breaths there, in and out. And then as you breathe out, you let go of the practice and slip the hands round behind. So probably the palms are facing down, so you're resting on the back of the hand, just at the back of the ribs, wherever you can really have your hands. If it's really uncomfortable, obviously, don't put your hands there, and you can just imagine. Just visualise the breath now going into the back of the ribs. If the hands are there, feeling the back of the ribs, compress down into the hands, push down into the hands. Then as you breathe out, maybe just that feeling of letting go. As you breathe into the back of the ribs, into the hands, into the ground, sending your attention there. And another 3 breaths there, into the back of the body, knowing that we've opened up the fronts, the sides, and now the back. And the next time you breathe out, let go of the practice. Slip the hands away if they're there. Now place the hands on the upper part of the chest. So we're going to do the front of the chest, the sides of the chest, and the back. So first of all, hands just resting on the front. Breathing into the hands. And it's a higher, shallower breath. So it's not so deep, obviously, because it's quite high into the torso. So we're opening up different spaces. So if you can, just another 4 breaths into the upper part of the chest. And the very tip of your lungs come just underneath the collarbone. So we're really trying to open up the very tops of the lungs. And this whole practice is about finding different ways to breathe into different parts of the lung spaces. It's quite a high, shallow breath, so don't be surprised if you get a bit breathless. So if you need to take deeper breaths in between, obviously, that's what you do. And then when you're ready, just place the hands on the top of the shoulders. And see if we can breathe into the top of the shoulders. Three or 4 breaths there. They're quite high, shallow. You might find that you're breathing a little bit quicker as well. Keeping your attention there. And then to try to breathe at the sides of the ribs or kind of underneath the armpits. If possible, take the arms on the floor above your head, or if you're sitting, just place the hands on the top of your head. So just opening up really around the armpits, deep inside there. And just see if you can send your attention to the armpits and underneath the arms and breathe into there. And if you can't feel anything, you just imagine you're sending the breath there. So there's that phrase, quite a well-known phrase really, that where you send your attention, energy flows. Where your attention goes, energy flows. So breathing into underneath the arms, around the armpits, the very top of the ribs. And then when you're ready, just bring the arms down. Let the arms rest down by your sides perhaps. If you're on the floor, palms facing up, arms down by your side. If you're sitting, just let your hands come to rest on the thighs or on the knees. And now when you breathe, just feel the breath in the body and notice you're breathing into different places. Maybe you can feel the back of the body, the sides of the body as well as the front. Maybe one part of the body or the lung space is just a little bit more open than another. Maybe there's just that possibility that your attention has just refined a little bit. And you can feel different parts of the breath. And just see if you can keep your attention again, just breathing in and breathing out. 3 or 4 more times. You're not necessarily controlling or doing a deep breath or whatever you're doing. It's just your natural breath. And your natural breath is the best breath there is. And everything else, all these exercises, is just that. They're just exercises to make our lungs strong, to make the respiratory muscles work in different ways. But ultimately, always knowing that your body knows how to breathe. And our practice is to know that. So letting your body rest and be with the breath. And to come out of the practice, if you're lying on the floor, just draw the knees in and just rock a little bit from side to side. If you're sitting up, just start to lean down. If you're lying on the floor, rolling over onto your side. If you're sitting, if you're already sitting, all of us opening our eyes, so taking your time. And just being aware that the first person you see is you, so valuing you and this time you've given yourself to nourish yourself, to be with your breath, your body. If you're lying down, just gradually coming to sit up, so coming out of it as carefully and attentively as you can, so always giving yourself that care and that value. Stopping, being with yourself, and then when you're ready, continuing with the rest of the day. So thank you for joining me.